What is up? What is up? Welcome to another episode of Blood and Beer. I'm your host, Matt. This is the show where we drink beer and we talk blood sport like MMA and other combat sports. So, I was supposed to have a guest on today. He had some things come up, so he ended up ghosting me. But don't worry, I'm not going to ghost you. We're going to jump right into this episode where we're talking UFC 271. This is the reaction show. Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya 2. And the fight was a pretty good fight. We'll get into it in a moment, but the card all around was just super fun to watch. First, the beer of choice today. It's Deschutes. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's a fresh haze IPA. I found it at a gas station by my mom's house. Never had this before. And shout out to Sniker Trips. He said it would be a good idea if I poured it into a glass, so not just talking about the beer, but you can also see the color of it. So we're going to try that out. And forewarning, I'm colorblind, so my color description or thoughts on it might be wrong. But I think it's a nice little orangey color. Looks like a harvest. I like it. It looks good. We're going to jump right into this and try the beer first, then we'll start talking the fights. Early prelims were super fun, so I got a lot to say about those, and then we'll go on from there, okay? Damn. That's a really good one. Does it say it's citrus, or what is it? 'Cause juicy, yep. Juicy and citrusy. This is a really, really good one. I recommend. Again, that's Deschutes, Deschutes, and it's the Fresh Haze IPA. We're going to try a different beer each episode till we run out of beers to try. No basic shit. No Coors Light, no Bud Light. Coors Light's for chugging, Bud Light's for chugging, Busch Light's for sipping, but that's not for sipping on this show. Rams just scored a touchdown to take the lead in the Super Bowl. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just kind of watching that in the background, but I'm here for you. I'm locked in. So, without further ado, let's get started. The early prelims. First fight we had was William Knight versus Maxime Grishin. William Knight set a UFC record. Not a good one to set. He missed weight by 12 pounds. Nobody's ever missed it by that much. So, he was probably drinking a little bit too many IPAs or something, because Buddy came in pretty big. They moved the fight from light heavyweight to heavyweight because he missed by so much. He had to forfeit like 40% of his purse. Bad move by William Knight. Bad move indeed. But that fight, the extra weight did not help Knight. He got pretty much pieced up the whole fight. He just looked like he was outclassed. Grisham, it wasn't a super dominating performance per se, but he just showed his experience and really put it on Knight. And then at the end of the third round, when Knight started to finally show some urgency, Grisham almost knocked him out. He almost stopped it. He dropped him, and I mean that's all you gotta say. It wasn't fight of the night by any means, but it was a good performance by Grisham, and he got the unanimous decision. It was pretty obvious that he was gonna win that. I think it was 30-27 on all the cards, but I'd have to go back and look. I didn't think William Knight won a single round on it. Next fight that was on there, though, was highly anticipated Blood Diamond versus Jeremiah Wells. Blood Diamond, training partner with Israel Adesanya. He's a highly experienced kickboxer. He has a lot of fights. He says he has over 100. Not in kickboxing, they don't keep the same record, so it's hard to find it, but I believe him. And then Jeremiah Wells is a prospect. I think he's on the up and up. Unfortunately for Blood Diamond, Wells showed that last night, and he didn't let Blood Diamond. What a cool name that is, Blood Diamond. But he didn't let him use his striking or his kickboxing. Wells has good striking and good stand up, but he pressed him up against the cage pretty early, and then he took him to the ground, did a little bit of ground and pound, locked in a rear naked, and put him all the way to sleep. I mean, just out cold. It was kind of scary to see when he let him go because he didn't move for a minute. He started to come to after a minute or so, though. And it was scary for Wells at the beginning of the fight. I don't know what the guy was thinking. He did this little sprint around the octagon after they rung the bell, and he almost rolled his ankle or broke his ankle. Like, it looked like he was about to be hurt, and I was like, oh, how dumb would that be to lose a fight without throwing any strikes, without doing anything, just being a clown running around the octagon. But he didn't. He showed some grit. Went out there and put on a show. Said, I'm not gonna kickbox a kickboxer. I'm gonna show him what MMA is about and put it on him. So, first round submission by Jeremiah Wells, and he's got some big things coming for him. He's beaten Warley Alves and Blood Diamond. So Alves, Ultimate Fighter champion, season 3 Brazil, I think it was, and I think Alves has also beaten people like Colby Covington. So Jeremiah Wells, sky's the limit for this guy. He's skilled. He's ripped as shit too. Dude's fucking huge for the division. Moving on, because we got to get through this a little bit quickly at least. And this fight was a fucking banger. I know I said last episode I'm trying not to cuss so much, but god damn it, that's the only way to describe it, is as a fucking banger. In the fight I'm referring to, Douglas De Silva Andrade versus Sergey Morozov, and fight starts off, Morozov's cracking Andrade. Just everything he's landing looks like it's buckling him, looks like it's hurting him. So he's fucking him up on the feet, and then he goes to the ground, and he's got the control there, and just he looks like he's got it in the bag. Cuts Andrade open big time. Like, I'm talking huge gash right here, right above the eye, and it was about 1/4 inch wide and about an inch long. I mean, the thing was huge, just spitting blood. It looked like, the movies when someone gets cut and it goes. It was one of those nasty gashes. It was friggin' sweet to see. Made it look like a war, that's for sure. But round 2 starts off. That cut's still there. Luckily for Andrade, it wasn't leaking into his eye. It was kind of like leaking right over his eye, so it was going down the side of his face, so it wasn't hindering his vision. But Andrade starts rocking Morozov, and he's cracking him. Gets, I want to say 1 or 2 drops, maybe even 3 knockdowns in that fight. And then the last knockdown, I don't want to say third because I'm not sure, but pretty sure the third knockdown, dude gets him down, and Morozov looked completely out of it. He looked like he didn't know where he was while they were on the ground. Andrade doesn't have terrible ground game, but he does only have 1 submission in his 40 fights, and Rams just won the Super Bowl. Poor Burrow. Sorry. 1 submission in his 40 fights, and it's just, against a grappler like Morozov, somebody that's very well-rounded like that, you didn't expect it, and he drops in a rear naked choke on him. Second fight in a row, someone goes to sleep. Morozov's eyes roll into the back of his head. Great resiliency by Andrade. He was getting his ass kicked that first round. I thought it was going to be stopped, and then he comes out that second round like the vet he is, fucks him up, puts him on the ground, chokes him out to sleep unconscious. So yeah, here's to you, Douglas Silva de Andrade, or you got too many names there, buddy. Moving on. We have Jacob Malkoon, training partner of Robert Whitaker, versus Columbus, Ohio's own AJ Dobson. Round 1 started off, Dobson's picking him apart on the feet, just really messing him up, and it looked like he had it in the bag. Round 2 starts, completely different fight. Malkoon starts to get the takedowns, lands a lot of ground and pound, just doing damage from the top, taking the back, getting side control, dropping 1 hook in a lot of the time, and just pounding away at him, just fucking him up. And he did the exact same thing round 3 pretty much. And ended up getting the unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. Malkoun. Not a lot to say about the fight. It wasn't the most interesting. Dobson has potential, but I think he needs to sharpen his skills a little more, because striking looked great. I don't know if the gas tank wasn't there or if he's just not a wrestler. We'll have to wait and see. I think he'll get a few more fights in the UFC. He's a dog. He's from Ohio, baby. That's where I'm from, baby. All right. Moving on. Last fight on the early prelims, we have Ronnie Lawrence versus Mana Martinez, and this fight was a banger. Ronnie Lawrence, he comes out and he drops Mana Martinez once, I think, in the first round, gets some takedowns, really doing some damage. I think that round was a 10-8 for Lawrence. Round 2, he's doing the same thing, drops him a few times. It looked like the fight was about to be over. That one might have been a 10-8 also. I'm not sure how the judges scored it. And Lawrence is really jacking him up. Mana Martinez is still landing strikes, though, showing real grit, real heart. In round 3, Martinez, I think it's round 3, that he drops Lawrence twice, and he starts to come back, and he's kind of fucking him up, but not enough to get a 10-8 round. And he couldn't get the stoppage in time, couldn't really pull it off. So it ends up going to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 judges gave it to Ronnie Lawrence, unanimous decision. It was a fun fight, that back and forth. I mean, if you get a chance, go watch it. It's on ESPN Plus. It might be on regular ESPN, just the app if you have it. Super fun fight. Go check that one out. It was a banger. And that's all for the early prelims. Done talking about them. Do a quick rundown of the prelims, because we do have a lot to talk about today, and then after that we'll jump right into to the main card, because there were some pretty exciting matchups on that card as well. But the prelims, it started off. Who was it? Carlos Ulberg versus Fabio Cherant. Ulberg put on a striking clinic. Just he didn't get taken down, or wouldn't stay down if he did get taken down. And Fabio Cherant landed like 13 strikes the whole fight to Ulberg's like 78. It was not really a competitive fight. Just looked like Ulberg knew what he was doing out there. The guy's a training partner of Israel Adesanya. He's the real deal. He's just a little green. He's got like 6 or 7 fights. So we'll see where he goes from here. Cherant probably has 1 or 2 fights left in the UFC before they cut him, because I think he's 0-2 or 0-3 in the UFC right now. So he's not doing too hot, but we'll have to wait and see. Then other fights on that on the prelims, we had Casey O'Neill versus Roxanne Modafferi. Modafferi's retirement fight, and she landed a shit ton of strikes. O'Neill broke the UFC record, another UFC record broke on this card. Broke the UFC record for most strikes landed in a 3-round fight. 230 strikes landed, 395 thrown. Modafferi, she just wanted to go out there and have a war, have a memorable last fight, and it was super fun to watch. So it's good to see a vet like Modafferi. 46 fights, been around since before Ronda Rousey, since before Amanda Nunes, I think. All these studs. She was around she was fighting before these guys were even in the Olympics or doing whatever they got started in the UFC, started in mixed martial arts on. So she had a fun run. She was a journeyman, that's for sure. O'Neill pulled off the split decision victory, which was bullshit. She definitely won that fight. It wasn't that close. I mean, there was a judge that hadn't scored a fight in like 4 years, or only 2 fights in 4 years, and he gave it to Modafferi. Dude was nuts, out of his friggin' mind. Should never judge a fight again, and he didn't for the rest of the card, thankfully. But yeah, good to see that Casey O'Neill's record wasn't tarnished by shitty judging. That was a fun fight to watch. Both their faces were pretty fucked up afterwards, and they just both seemed like people that loved to fight. So that was a good one to watch. There wasn't too many bad fights on the card. I mean, maybe 1 or 2, but I lost my place. I did not. I didn't. All right. And then I'll talk about this fight and then backpedal to the Kyler Phillips fight. But Andrei Arlovsky versus Jacob Vandera. Arlovsky showed that he still has it. Goes out there with some crisp boxing. Vandera was competitive in it. In my last show, I didn't think that he was up there with the echelon that the UFC is. He showed that he can compete, but he just couldn't get the victory. It was a split decision. I thought Arlovsky won it pretty solidly, but I could see how you could score it either way. But Arlovsky pulled it off, split decision victory. 5-1 in his last 6 fights. Get a ranking next to my dude's name. He's like 43 years old, and he's still fucking up these heavyweights, taking their shots. That beard he's got is like a cushion. Dude's just... He's the Tom Brady of MMA, but not quite as good. Sorry. Yes. And then Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo. This fight was fun. Rojo's good. He has some crisp striking. Phillips is better. He has good striking. He was out striking Rojo in the first 2 rounds. And then in the 3rd round, he goes to the ground. He drops in a triangle choke. And it looks like Rojo's about to get out of it. At first it looked kind of deep. And then right before Rojo pulls out, Phillips grabs his arm and kind of cranks on it. And then twists over, and Rojo taps right away. Armbar from a triangle choke. It was super slick. Submission of the year so far, I think. I don't know. We'll have to circle back to this maybe end of March or sometime in June and see what the real submission of the year is. I got a lot of fights to review, but I think that was probably my submission of the year so far. So, to Kyler Phillips. And I want to make a correction from my last show. I said he's Sean Strickland's training partner. Sean O'Malley's training partner is who he is. Sean O'Malley. Alright. And that was just a rundown of the prelims, baby. Now we're getting to the main card. Bobby Green, he put on a clinic. Just beautiful boxing. I haven't seen anything like it. Not Max Holloway's like that. I haven't seen anything that beautiful over 3 rounds in the lightweight division. He looked amazing against Nasrat Haqparast. He goes out there and he's just piecing him up the whole fight. He's fighting with his hands like down here. He said going into it he's going to try to talk less. Dude didn't shut the fuck up the whole fight. He was just talking shit. It was beautiful to see. Like I said in the last one, I love when fighters do that and just start talking shit, do their warrior cry, whatever they do in those fights. He looked awesome out there, and he's just getting better and better. I'd like to see him get a chance at someone in the top 10, because I think there's a lot of people he'd fuck up. Rafael Fiziev, he's fighting Dos Anjos it was supposed to be next weekend, now it's moved to UFC 272, but I thought Bobby Green won that fight. It was a super close fight, and yeah, I'd like to see Bobby Green get a crack at the top 50 or top 10, and see if he can work his way up, because dude's got some serious striking, and I mean his takedown defense is pretty solid. Nobody seems to really get him down and keep him there. So yeah, give Bobby Green a shot. Please give my man Bobby a shot. Alright. And then Alexander Hernandez versus Renato Moicano. Alexander Hernandez threw a little fit when he found out he was on the early prelims at first. He said, after all I've done, after this, that, and the other, why the hell am I on the early prelims? Disrespected by the UFC. So the UFC puts him on the main card. Guess all you gotta do is bitch and moan to get moved up. But gets put on the main card, and I don't think it worked out too well for him. He goes out and they're striking back and forth pretty close. Moicano's landing some good strikes. He's landing some good strikes. Pretty even. Going into round 2, Moicano secures a takedown, rear naked choke. A lot of rear naked chokes on this fight. But yeah, complaining like that. You didn't get choked out on the early prelims. You got choked out on pay-per-view, so congratulations. I didn't think that fight should have been on the pay-per-view. There were a lot of fights on the prelims and early prelims that I thought could have replaced that, but It is what it is. Throw him in there. Give the dog a bone. He didn't perform. Got nervous under the lights. So, congrats, Renato Moicano. Shame on you, Alexander Hernandez. Don't call for stuff if you're not ready, my dude. Now on to the big three. Jared Cannonier versus Derek Blonde Brunson. Starts off, they're feeling each other out. Brunson's getting a lot of takedowns and not doing a ton of damage. Cannonier's popping right back up, but he's getting the takedowns. And then close to the end of the first round, Brunson gets he drops Cannonier and then locks in a rear naked choke. And it looked like he was about to finish it, but time ran out. So they go back to their corners. Cannonier's corner says that's all he's got. He's already fighting desperate. I didn't think that when I was watching it, but going into the second round, Brunson immediately shoots for a takedown. Then they get up, and as they're getting up, or maybe it was on the next takedown attempt, Cannonier hits him with a big right hook, almost an uppercut, like a wide uppercut, wide right hook, and it really fucked Brunson up. It looked like he wasn't the same after that punch for the whole fight. He was kind of lackadaisical after that. He didn't seem like he knew what the hell he was doing. Not that he didn't know where he was, just didn't know what the hell he was doing. And then, he shot for a takedown, couldn't get it. Cannonier has him, and he throws a real close elbow, and it wobbles him, and then he just kind of starts falling into punches of Cannonier's, because Cannonier's cracking him with everything in the second round once he realizes he's hurt. And then on the ground, Cannonier hits him with a hammer fist or a right hand, and then some mean ground and pound elbows, and it knocked Brunson out, it looked like. And Brunson's corner threw in the towel as the ref was stopping it, because they knew that was some serious ground and pound he was taking. So, hate to see it. Brunson was really dogging the division. He was fresh-faced because there's not a lot of strong wrestlers at middleweight. But that fight had a lot of title, or pretty much the only title implications in it. Winners should face Israel Adesanya next, because who else are you going to put up against him? He beat Paulo Costa. He beat Marvin Vettori. He beat Whitaker twice. Vettori twice. So I'd say next is Cannonier. And Cannonier got on the mic, talked his shit, made a good case for it, said, "Hey, Dana, look me in the eyes, I'm next." And Dana gave him a little thumbs up. So, yeah. And Cannonier sounded good on the mic. He sounded good. He said he was going to turn Blonde Brunson into Blood Brunson, and that's what he did. You know, here on Blood and Beer, we love that. Blonde to blood. Doesn't get better. All right. Moving on. I don't know if I'm ready to move on. Do not know if I'm ready to move on, because I promised myself. Damn it. Tai Tuivasa. Damn it, Tai Tuivasa. Last episode I said if I get 10 likes on that video, I'm going to chug a beer as it starts. I didn't get 10 likes. I also said if I get 10 likes and Tai Tuivasa wins, I'm going to do a shoey. I didn't get 10 likes, but Tai Tuivasa won, and I'm going to try to do a shoey. We'll see how this works. These are my good blue suede shoes. Like I said, Coors Light is what you chug. It's not what you sip. Oh. Got a little spillage there. Got a little spillage. This is going to be fucking disgusting. That's pretty fucking yuck. I didn't even finish it. I will, for the sake of Ty Bam Bam Tuivasa. You sick motherfucker. Now I'm a sick motherfucker. Alright, but getting into your fight, I already spoiled it. You won. And it was a super fun fight. First round, they're slanging and banging like Derek Lewis said. Lewis looked like he hurt him a couple times. And then using that all-American wrestling that Derek Lewis has, gets 2 takedowns in the first round. He gets a trip takedown. Didn't do a lot of damage with him, but he looked really good in that first round. Tuivasa was landing, but not landing near as much as Lewis. He was landing some kicks especially, which I think really fucks Lewis up because he stands real flat-footed a lot of times. Round 2 starts. Lewis is kind of piecing him up again. Not piecing him up because, they're slanging and banging. But then they get up against the fence, and Tuivasa hits him with a couple of elbows. And Lewis seemed like he was a little rocked. He seemed off balance. He got hit with a couple punches, off balance some more. And then he seemed to gain his composure up against the cage. Tuivasa turns Lewis's back to the cage. Mean big boy elbow. And Derek Lewis topples out cold, face first into the mat. I'm a big Derek Lewis fan, so you hate to see it happen. But also a big Tai Tuivasa fan. And that was, fuck yeah. Dude's a dog. That was awesome to see. His post-fight press conference was also awesome. He was real humble. They said, what do you want next? Do you expect people to look at you more of a martial artist or just the guy that chugs the beer out of the shoe? And he was like, I don't care. This is martial arts, but I am that guy that chugs the beer out of that shoe, man. You love to see it. Love to see those kinds of fights, and fans didn't lose. The only loser is Derek Lewis, and he looked great in that fight. 37 years old as a heavyweight at 39. I'm not sure how old he is, but dude is he's still out there putting on. Tuivasa's just a different force. He's on a 5 knockout streak right now. Dude's a dog, and he knows it. So, Ty Bam Bam Tuivasa with the win. Got me to do a nasty, nasty shoey. Hope it didn't ruin my blue suede shoes. On to the main event of the evening. Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker 2. And this fight, it was a lot more competitive than the first fight. You could tell Rob really was game planning for him. And Izzy's different, man. He's so hard to hit with that tall frame, and he's so mobile. His top half, he can keep his bottom half right there in front of you, but move his and he'll start from the hips and then his shoulders and then his neck and his head. Dude is just, he's a different kind of fighter, and he was throwing while he's moving like that. And Rob was landing, he was landing. But in round 1, Whittaker gets dropped by Izzy. And then pretty much just a lot of back and forth after that. Round 2, Rob looked like he started putting some things together. And then Izzy looked like he was. Rob got a takedown but didn't do a lot of damage. Going into round 3, it's more of the same. Round 4, I thought Rob took round 4. He got a couple takedowns. He looked like he did more damage. And round 5, I was just tired last night. I've been working a lot this week, but looked like he got a takedown in it, and he did some damage. It was a close fight, but I didn't think Rob did enough to take the belt. I thought it could have gone either way. Judges did not think that. Judges said unanimous decision. All 3 scored it for Izzy, 48-47, 48-47, and 49-46. A lot of people thought it was a ripoff, or a robbery, as they say in the fight game. I didn't think so. I think to become champion, you got to beat the champ. You got to really go out there and show that you beat the champ, and he didn't do that. So I mean, great fight to both of them. They're both clearly the best middleweights out right now. I mean, it's not even close because Rob goes out there and dominates every top contender you put him against. So it's just Izzy's a different beast. He's like a second coming of Anderson Silva. I mean, a striking guru that nobody can figure out. The only difference is Anderson Silva was insane on the ground also. Izzy has great takedown defense, and that's probably what won him the fight. So I don't see anybody beating him unless he fights Cannonier and Cannonier catches him with a big bomb, which it could happen. But like I said, Israel's so hard to hit. I mean, the guy's movement and the way when you're punching at him and he knows he can't move, he puts his hands out like this, not up, out like this to just kind of mute your punches. So as they're coming in, he'll just kind of grab you a little bit. Even if he doesn't stop it, it slows down your momentum and you're not going to knock him out with a punch like that. Yeah, so congrats to Izzy. Good show to Rob. Good show to everybody. That was great matchmaking by the UFC. We got a big card coming up. A little card coming up this weekend. Big card coming up March 5th. UFC 272, Masvidal versus Covington. Big grudge match. The co-main event on that is Rafael Dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, and that's going to be a 5-rounder. It was supposed to be on this upcoming weekend, but they couldn't have it because Fiziev was having some visa issues. So, love to hear your guys' thoughts on that, your thoughts on 271. If anybody watched Anthony Pettis Fight Club, a lot better than what I was expecting. Yeah, go check that out if you have UFC Fight Pass. It was pretty good. The announcers were dead wrong a lot of times. There was one fight where the guy was in a head and arm triangle. Head and arm triangle. And the announcer was like, yeah, he's not going to tap to this. And as soon as he said this, the guy goes, like, it was a super deep choke, too. I don't know why he didn't think he would tap. And, those kinds of cards, it's like something that's below LFA right now, so they're not getting the most high-level people. So a lot of people are just panic tapping. They're panic fighting. But, yeah, Anthony Pettis, he had Steven Seiler on there. He got fucked up. He had some good shows. So go check it out. UFC Fight Pass. It's $10 a month or $95 for the year. It's got just about every other promotion except for Eagle FC, Bellator, and ONE FC on there right now, and PFL. And then you got the whole UFC fight library. It's pretty awesome. You got WEC, Strikeforce. You got Pride's on there. I mean, if you're a big time fan, UFC Fight Pass is where it's at. And my friends, if you guys want to check it out, let me know. Again, thanks for tuning in. Sorry I'm ranting at the end. This has been Blood and Beer, the show where we drink beer and we talk blood sport. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm loving it.